Hey everybody and welcome to Department Spotlight, where we talk to our colleagues and friends about the South African film industry and just the film industry in general. So today we are covering directing, and since me and Mark were the only two directors on this project, it's just us today. So sorry, no guest speakers or whatever, but I think we can cover some cool things. So yeah, I think let's just jump into it. Directing. Mark, do you want to start?
Sure. Suppose the first question I have is, what are some good traits for a director to have?
So I would say a good trait would be caring about people, friendliness, basically. Like I've been, you guys might not know, I did the full 3 years at AFTA film school as a sound guy and a visual effects guy. So I was more like post-production in undergrad, but then in third year, two of the directors dropped out of the project that I was involved in. So I like jumped on board as like a co-director with like either cinematographer or like the editor or whatever. And that's really where my love for directing comes from. And then in honors, I swapped over to directing and writing. And then I made like my first like proper short film. I don't count the other two that I did before this. But so all of that to say is I've been on both sides of the coin, receiving direction and then being that guy who barks orders on set. So I definitely think that a director who cares about you is most important. Because like if sound and visual effects, a lot of post-production heavy disciplines, and when the director doesn't care about you, he just comes in at the last minute, listens to the thing and says no, change this, change that, change that. Whereas the good directors, in my opinion, always like come to the booth, come to the mixing thing for at least like one full day, and they sit there with you while you do the things, and they make sure that you like don't do a whole thing and then they don't like it. So that's what I sort of like try to do in the films that I direct. Just give that sense of like, I actually do care about you. I want to know, even just general things like, how was your week? What other jobs are you doing? Not always just film.
So basically, the good traits of a good director is just the good traits of a good human.
Yeah, basically. I mean, just care about people, you know?
Which is like forgotten these days. Like how far kindness will take you, like what people will be willing to do or help you out on if you're just like a nice person.
Yeah, and like, I mean, we've seen that in this production, this project. A lot of the crew members are like not paid as much as they would be paid on like a proper shoot or whatever, because we're very low budget at this stage, and they just come through. We recycle a bunch of crew members, meaning that they like
do more than one
film with us, which is amazing, and I hope that we've just been nice enough on set that they'd keep wanting to come back. Because I mean, like Mark said, like when somebody likes you or likes the work that you're doing and they don't think that you're an asshole, they'll just do whatever you ask of them.
Yeah.
Within reason.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, I think just being kind and caring.
Yeah, empathetic.
Yeah. That's a good word. Cool. So on that note, right, when do you become a good director? Is it when a bunch of companies maybe start paying you to produce a lot of work, or maybe it's like something within yourself? What is your opinion on that?
I don't think that you become a good director if you get jobs. I don't think that that's what it's about. I think, making money is one thing, but I think it's when you have like you have like a vision that you're fulfilling. You know what I mean? I don't think someone who just goes along and like where the money is. Like, of course, that's obviously a part of it because everything works off of that. But I think you become a good director when you're telling like your story the way you want to, and you're collaborating with people, and you're being a good person, and you're like, I don't think it's about, because then like great directors would be like, I don't know, Michael Bay.
No, but
he's
sure.
He's fun in his own way, but I mean, like.
Yeah, no, but I mean, if you are a good director and if you do those things, then people would see it and want to offer you jobs anyway, right?
Yeah, true.
So it's not like mutually exclusive. I don't think you have to be poor to be a good director.
No.
I mean, there's a lot of good directors. I mean, the good directors often get the bigger budgets, you know. So, I mean, I definitely agree. It's not like once you get a lot of jobs, then you're a good director. But I think getting a lot of jobs is a sign that you're doing something right.
True, but I mean, let's say it's just like you've got a camera and you've got a couple of friends and you're telling the story the way you saw it in your head, and like you had a vision and you're doing it, then you're a good director. You know what I mean? I would say like a bad director is someone who like panders to whatever is like popular, and they just like follow a trend. You know what I mean? I think a good director is someone who like follows their own heart. You know what I mean? And money is a part of that, obviously, because like you have to get money to make the films that where your heart is. You know, that everything is like paid for. But I mean, I think a not good one is one that panders versus just the person who's like using film to tell their story, and it's like I have to do it this way. I saw it this way, and that obviously doesn't mean you're like some dictator. There's obviously collaboration, and like a whole thing about filmmaking is that it's a collaborative medium. But you know what I mean? It's like when you're following your own heart and not doing it just cause. You know what I mean?
All right. Cool. Yeah. So I guess that brings us to why do you do it?
Why do I do it? Well, I like Jaco. I was doing directing at film school, then I switched, and did post-production. Not because the directing at film school isn't useful. It's really good to get like a technical skill at film school, and I think why I also want to like always direct, as in like why can't I just be happy doing like post production, is just, I mean, I do love editing obviously, but I don't know, there's just something that there's no other way to like satiate that like need to like make films, unless it's like, I don't know how to explain it properly. You know what I mean? It's just like that drive. It's like you have to do it, otherwise you're unhappy. You know what I mean? But I also think like people that are good directors and want to direct are like just like natural storytellers. Like you just have to do it. It's like some people in a society are the people that tell the stories sitting around a campfire. You know what I mean? There's the people that tell the stories. And I think definitely more people need to like try it out, and there needs to be as many voices telling the stories. But I don't know, you're just attracted to it. Like as soon as you watch like that first movie that makes you want to make movies, it's like, this is what I'm doing. This is it. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't think it's about like wanting to take control. Like I don't think I think I'm more like introverted in a way in my like normal life. So I don't think it's like wanting to be like in the spotlight or anything like that. I don't know, it's hard to explain.
It is hard to explain. What is that movie that made you want to make movies?
I think I answered this in the between the setups. But so when I was much younger, I would always, watch like the stuff that kids watch, like Disney films and sort of bigger, like blockbustery type of stuff. Like I have very, very vivid memories of watching like Jurassic Park for the first time, which is, I mean, still, it's a great film. I'm not going to say it's not. But I think it was like the first time I watched Blade Runner, and I was like way too young to understand what was actually going on. And I think it stuck with me because I didn't like understand, but I understood the questions that it posed, like, oh, this is a human, but they're not a human, and like, what does it mean to be a human? And like, oh, these things that like, what does it mean to have emotions? And I was just like, way too many questions that just like stuck with me, and I was like, oh, like this is what you can do with movies. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to just be like big bombastic stuff, but like the biggest stuff for me is like those questions.
Cool.
What was yours?
I mean, I don't know if I really had one. Because, like, I mean, I also said in the between the setups, I started a YouTube channel with a couple of friends in high school. So, and that didn't even come from wanting to entertain. It was just my friend joined the school newspaper, and he wanted us to join as well. And we were like, we don't want to join. But I just earlier started just playing around with the camera or whatever. So I was like, we'll make YouTube videos or whatever, school news videos.
Right.
Super cool.
It always starts with just like getting a camera.
Yeah.
And putting stuff together, and then it's like,
Yeah.
this is the greatest thing ever.
Yeah. But I mean, I was watching those big blockbustery movies until I was like 18 already. Still, I mean, I still watch. I like the Avengers. But I never really watched any like, what do you call them? Like, I'm not saying there's bad movies, and I mean there are bad movies and good movies, but art movies or like
art house.
Yeah, I never watched any of that business until there was a guy. I was volunteering at the church, and there was a guy who just started working there, Christopher, and I told him I'm coming to film school, and he was just talking about all these movies. I've never seen any of them, right? And he was like confused. How do I want to go to film school, but I haven't seen these movies? So he gave me a list of stuff, and I started watching those. And when I saw the Grand Budapest Hotel, I was like, oh. I mean, I tried. He started me off hard. He was like putting Aronofsky in my face and whatever, and I was like, no. But then when I saw the Grand Budapest Hotel, I got hooked. But I mean, it's weird to say that because I'd already decided to go to film school. So.
It just like fitted together.
Yeah. Can I steal one of your questions?
Yeah.
We've got the questions here in front of us, sorry. But one of Mark's questions was, do you believe in the auteur theory, right? And I mean, we just spoke about like Wes Anderson, kind of, which a lot of people would classify as an auteur.
Yeah. But I think
but let's explain what is the auteur theory.
An auteur is basically like this film or this. It can apply to different like mediums of art as well. It's like this thing came from that person, and it's like they're the only sort of like leading creative force in the whole thing. It's theirs, and so you get like Kubrick or Wes Anderson or PTA or like Jean-Luc Godard and the sort of, I suppose it did in film, it like came from like the French New Wave kind of movement of like this film came from that person, their names behind it, they're the only sort of driving creative force. Which the reason why I put this question in there is because I think I have problems with just the perception of what people think is an auteur anyway. Because Wes Anderson, he's classified as like an auteur, but he's not collaborating with people.
Yeah.
Kubrick was like, is an auteur, but like he always had his collaborators with him.
It's not like Wes Anderson is building the sets.
Yeah,
He's
it's more like I just disagree with the whole perception of like auteur in the first place.
I mean,
which is why I wanted to ask the question.
That's a good point. I don't think I'm like as strongly against it as you are, because sure, of course they're not doing it themselves, but they're still the ones explaining to the, for example, the art director, I want it to be symmetrical, I want it to be pastel colors, and I want it to be like very. He's also, speaking to the cinematographer, do this on a dolly, don't do it handheld.
Yeah.
So I do.
But that's just the director.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like,
a good director.
I mean, how many people have tried to copy Wes Anderson's style? Right?
Every film studio
Exactly. And how many of them actually got it right?
Not many.
None of them. Well, okay, maybe there are some. But that's my point. Like, just because like you can remake the style, it's not gonna be the same as the person who is like the driving force.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I kind of agree with it. It's not the same for art.
I just meant like the way that it's viewed as like it's viewed like negatively. In terms of people always say like, oh, they're an auteur, they just do things their own way, they don't ever collaborate, it's their way or the highway. But in my experience of like researching these people, watching tons of interviews and reading about them, it's never that way with anyone, even like Kubrick, who was apparently this like the cliche of like this asshole director of you do the things this way, you do that. He was not like that.
Yeah, exactly.
He had a process, but he was very much a collaborator. You can't be a good director if you aren't a collaborator.
Exactly.
And the auteur theory, the view of it is that's like them and only them, which I think is nonsense. Like every single good director was a collaborator.
Yeah, I mean,
Ingmar
like
Bergman,
coming back to what we said earlier. Come back to what like Kubrick famously on Eyes Wide Shut, hundreds of takes.
Yeah,
hundreds, but it's if everybody on set hated him, they wouldn't have stayed.
Be there.
They wouldn't have stuck around.
No one's gonna do that. But
and that's because he probably cared about them, and that's what we said earlier. So it's not this like on a pedestal kind of thing, because there's still people. I mean, I guess in like the real world, you get these like CEOs who just don't care. They're like ruthless, of these big conglomerates, and they like sort of stuck away in their office, and people like think about them in their office on the 20th floor. But you can't be that as a director, because you're there.
Yeah,
people can see the way you act. A big CEO could hide away, like I said, and like pretend to care and do one thing, and then that spread the word. But if you're a director on a set, you can't do one nice thing for one person, and then treat everybody else terribly, and then hope it like spreads.
Exactly. Like, do you think Nicole Kidman and Tom Cruise would have stuck around if they didn't trust in the process?
Exactly.
There's a reason why he wanted to do it 1,000,000 times to get that performance. They understood that. He understood that. They did it. And like, there's also something coming off of that question, and also linking to the thing about directors just being good people, is that there's that famous story as well with Shelley Duvall in The Shining, and how on the set of The Shining, apparently he like emotionally like traumatized her, apparently, on the set to make her to get that performance. And then in an interview I saw with her, she said that in retrospect, she thought it was an amazing experience, and like I would never do that. I think that there's ways to get a good. You don't have to be a rude person to get a good performance. There's no excuse for like not being a good person.
Mm.
But what do you think about that? Like, how far would you go? I mean, yeah, I would never cross the line into being a horrible person. But then the thing is, how like
No, but
she would have just walked away, right?
yeah,
If you
if it was that bad.
yeah.
I think you have to spend time with your actors before, before you even start shooting. You have to spend time with your actors, get to know them. On Malamula, I spent I think we did 3 weeks of rehearsals. And like the first week, I just did like one session with each actor. And it was like a 4-hour session. And I just spoke with them. I was like this new director, didn't know what I was doing, but I just wanted to like find out who they were. Because I had this idea where like, I'm not going to let the actors watch the takes. I don't know why. But I thought that if I could just get them to trust me, then they wouldn't have to watch the takes,
Mm-hmm.
And I think I still don't do that because it like saves a lot of time. But I also have learned to not watch every single playback. That's a different story. But it's that thing of building the trust. Like when you need people to be emotional, I think if you speak to them before, like on the set, I'm going to maybe mention this. Are you okay with it? Building is kind of consent. Because like I'm not saying like be like a ruthless dragon or whatever, but if you can, like Barry, you saw Barry, obviously you told me about Barry,
The series.
Yeah. So there's that scene where the acting coach is talking to the like lead female
I know what
character,
you're talking about. It's so good.
and he's like, and she's like not doing it properly. And then he's just like tearing the performance apart and saying why you're an actor and this and that. And then at the end he's like, okay, use that. And then she just delivers the best performance ever.
Yeah.
And so my thinking behind it is make sure you have that relationship before you start.
Okay.
Right? But then if you need to do a specific thing that might in the moment not feel kosher or whatever, obviously within reason, then go for it. And then afterwards she's like, I'm sorry. Because like he also he's like, I'm sorry, I knew this would get you.
Yeah.
And she was grateful for it, because this is something that she can then use going forward.
Yeah.
So.
But in any other context, aside from the thing that the dynamic that you've essentially constructed, you're still like not being like a good person, right? Isn't it weird?
It is weird. But yeah, I guess in that moment you're not being a good person, but there's no like trauma involved.
Yeah.
It's not like you're intentionally hurting a person. You're just doing something to get a performance, and then immediately afterwards, after the camera cuts, after you call cut, you go there and like, I'm sorry, are you okay? Blah, blah, blah. You're not just like, let's just do it again. That was terrible. That's what I mean. Like, as soon as you get what you need, you like tell them, okay, thank you so much. That was amazing. Affirm or give them that affirmation that it might not have felt the best in the moment, but like on camera, it looks amazing. I'd also like, it's not a question, but like that's a weird like moral quandary. Like, is film important enough to do that to people?
But I think like with directors who are like famously assholes, like Lars von Trier, for example, who like traumatized Bjork to the point where she like didn't want to be involved with films anymore.
Yeah.
It's like there's a line between you just doing it to get a good performance and the actor and you both know that this is what's happening to get the performance, versus like that guy's just an asshole.
Yeah. No, definitely.
Like, he's just a rude person.
Definitely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I also think that there's there's an approach you can take. There's obviously a line, but I always think that like there's a way you can get a performance, like a very good performance, also without being an asshole at all. You know what I mean?
Mm-mm. And I mean, it depends on the film. You know, if it's a
Absolutely,
comedy,
yeah.
you're not gonna
Gonna be like-
terrorize people.
Yeah.
So to conclude this part of the conversation, I think there's a line, like you said. But if you did like your pre-production work with the actors properly, then you'll never cross that line.
Yeah, because you have a rapport with an actor or a person once you get to know them. So
Yeah.
should I jump on another question? So we were talking about carrying on with this. If a conflict did arise, and conflicts as they do arise on set, how do you handle them?
This is my own question, and it's tough.
It's a good question.
Thanks. Conflicts on set. You've got the like light conflicts, and then you've got like deep conflicts. You know, on longer shoots you get more of the deep conflicts. I feel like on a single day shoot like we did, it's very easy to just like it's just this one day, whatever. Let's just do what the guy wants. You know, but the deeper ones are more difficult. So a light one would, for example, be you're talking about like a new setup, and you're like figuring out how to light it, and you're talking about the line, the 180 degree rule, which is not the like shadow one, the camera one.
Yeah,
and
screen direction.
and like that always confuses everybody.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how experienced you are, it's always confusing, right? But then at some point, one of the people is going to figure it out.
Yeah.
And then the other person, not wanting to admit that they're confused, is going to argue with you even longer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's a light conflict, right? So in that like situation, you just have to like go very slow and just explain it completely.
Yeah.
And then move your body, and then move them. Be like, if we're here, and then we're there. Then we're on the line. And then if we go wide, we create a new line or whatever.
Yeah.
And those are like, I like those. I don't know. I like.
It's fun.
Yeah, it's fun like figuring things out together. But it's also tough when you're the director and you're the one who comes up with the answer first, because then people, they want to contribute. So then you have to make it feel like it's their idea.
Yeah.
That's tough. I struggle to do that. And like sometimes I feel like I'm patronizing. I'm like, yeah, good idea. I say the whole thing, and then they agree, and I'm like, yeah, that's a good idea. And I'm like, wait, am I saying it's a good idea to me? So I struggle with that. But then a deeper conflict usually comes from like an emotional thing, and it's usually the people who don't have much to do on set that like stir things. And I'm not saying they're like bad people, but those are just those people. It's like on a set I've had a production designer and a producer who were like very close friends just like talk amongst themselves and some other crew members about me just taking charge or whatever, right? And then that like hurt me a bit when I heard it, so I had to like take I don't know, when I heard about it, I couldn't just address it immediately because I was emotional. So then I had to like step aside, figure it out, realize that this is not the time for it, and then like deal with it later.
People skills.
But also it's difficult when there's pressure, and that was on a long shoot. That was like at the end of a long shoot. So my longest shoot has been like a 7-day shoot. So, but yeah, and then eventually like you just talk about it, and sometimes people just say things without meaning it,
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Obviously, you take the time. If you just like some things that need to be dealt with right now, there are more important things. But like I think just speaking about it out loud is the
Mm.
best way. Like we've had lots of conflicts,
Yeah.
but then we also know that like we just mustn't hold a grudge. Just like say it
Yeah,
out
yeah,
loud.
yeah.
You know, sometimes it
Yeah.
comes to like agreeing to disagree about certain things, but like as long as it's like verbalized and you're not like holding this,
Animosity.
yeah,
Yeah.
then that just like sits and festers.
Yeah, yeah,
Rather just like
yeah.
say what you feel, and
Yeah.
then you can just like solve the problem, which is another
Mm.
thing that directing is all about, just solving problems, solving all the problems.
True.
So maybe the next question to go on to would be, how do you handle being asked 1,000 questions at once while you're on set?
I don't. Do I get asked 1,000 questions at once? I don't
I
know.
mean, you're making
I'm making the decisions, but I don't think. I don't know. I've. For me, so far, I haven't been so overwhelmed to the point that I feel like this is too much to figure out at once. Maybe I'm just fortunate. Um,
but you're making like every single decision, right? So you're getting
yeah. Well, I mean, I get away with a lot of what do you think? You know, when I'm not sure about something, I never say I'm not sure. I'm always like, what do you think?
Yeah.
You know,
It's good as well, because if you say I don't know as well,
yeah.
which is also a thing that's like really tough, is that, and especially like at film school, when like there's all of these other people relying on you for like their like marks towards like their discipline,
yeah,
and
for
you
their
can
degree.
and you can never once in your life say I don't know, because then they're just like all trust is gone, and it's like
Yeah.
what. So
Yeah,
I get that you have to like include the collaboration
Yeah.
in a way that makes you still seem like you've got your stuff together,
Mm.
which you usually do, but also like you don't know the answer to every single question. Like
Yeah.
you've considered like a million, like every single million things, but the nature of filmmaking is there's always going to be something that you like, oh, I haven't thought about it all, and you're
Yeah,
sitting
yeah,
there
yeah.
like, oh,
You know, for me, that's usually wardrobe.
yeah.
Always. I never think about the wardrobe unless I have like a costume person. I never think about it. And then, like, especially with like actresses, they're like, they're like conscious about wardrobe a bit more than some of the actors would be. So then they come to me and they have like all these options, and I'm like, I don't know what does it mean to wear jeggings instead of like sweatpants?
That's where you go with I always go with what do you think they would wear?
Yeah.
Oof, it's a good one. Because then they'll start explaining about what the things are that you don't know about.
Yeah.
And then you're like, then you make a decision.
Yeah.
So then but that's also just like the amazing part of collaborating as well.
Yeah.
Is it doesn't just have to be like you create like the framework of where the story like sits and the themes that we're going for and what the characters, where they are in their lives and what's happening with the conflict, and then you can just like let those things you've already thought about like dictate the things that you haven't thought about. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. On surface tension, right? I made the like conscious choice to not do a shot list, which is something that I've never done, right? I always have a shot list. But when I was like, I think first year, when we were first year,
Yeah.
Sean Bobbitt, who's the DOP of 12 Years a Slave, came to AFTA to do like a talk, which I thought was just the coolest thing, And people were asking a bunch of questions after his talk, and then he said, or somebody asked, how in detail did you go with shot list or whatever, right? And he's like, who shot lists? He's like, with Steve McQueen, they just show up on the day, they look at the location, and they decide and they shoot. And I mean, if it works for 12 Years a Slave, wow, So, but I've never done it. And that was first year, but I was like, no, that's not going to work. And so I made the conscious decision on surface tension to not shortlist because I wanted to see how it works, right? And it also helped that it was Narda's shooting. I've known Narda since literally first day of orientation at AFTA. and we stayed pretty close, so we were hanging out a lot. So I knew he was a really good DOP. So I thought, like, if there's ever a time that I'm going to try it, even though I've never worked with him as the director, I've worked with him as the sound guy or whatever, but I've never worked with him as the director and the DOP. I was like, if I'm going to try this, it's going to be with Nadas, right? Shout out Nadas. But it just worked so well, you know. It also helped that we had like a day and a half shoots, so it was a bit more flexible. So we had like a bit more time to figure things out. But yeah, I mean, we basically ended up doing what I had in my mind anyway, but without all of the stress of writing it down and like having to cross it off and checking, okay, do I have all the shots, you know? Instead, I was like thinking about the story. Did I cover all the beats, you know? So there were a lot more decisions to be made on that day. But I think having the DOP be somebody that you trust, and I mean, you trust obviously all your crew, but doing that just felt liberating, because you sort of give off a little bit of the, not the responsibility, but of the pressure. You know, you're like, okay, what do you think that is? Where should we shoot it from? What do you want to do? And yeah, I think it worked out. I'm editing it right now, and it looks amazing.
I think I come from the opposite side. I don't think I can ever not shot list. Just always have to shot list.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's different on like on Surface Tension. You still had a very clear idea of like how you wanted it to be shot, and because you obviously you co-wrote it as well, and obviously seeing it as we're like writing it and stuff. So I think it that also comes from like your like closeness to it. You know what I mean? Because I think you can also like figure out a lot of things by shot listing, and also for me, having a shot list is like just arriving with a plan, and then not like, I mean, you still had a plan for Surface Tension, you know what I mean? But like having a plan and then having the freedom to like deviate from that plan to have a better plan. You know what I mean? Like you're not going to like obviously stick always 100% to a shot list, because it's going to be different to like what the location is, or there are a million different things, but there's always like a plan to improve upon versus, you know. So I think there's like pros and cons. Obviously with certain, maybe if you don't like shot list the whole thing, but there's like a sequence that you need to figure out or something. Even if you specifically didn't necessarily bring a shot list to set, you still got a shot list in your brain. Like, don't arrive with no plan. Cause like, what are you doing? But like Nardis had like figured out all the lighting for everything already. You had like figured out which order we were gonna shoot it and stuff like that. But basically, I think there's two approaches, but I think the fundamental that we can both agree upon is like, you have to have a plan. Because otherwise it's just a waste of time.
Eventually people are going to catch on if you're just like, what do you think?
Yeah, the whole time.
Imagine, do you think we should cut?
Sean Bobbitt and Steve McQueen, like...
Yeah, they know what they're doing.
They know what they're doing. And also, like, you know Steve McQueen has got the whole thing like shot listed in his head, like and all he's doing is recording exactly what he's seeing in his brain, like, you know what I mean?
That talk from Sean Bobbitt really motivated me a lot, really. Oh, dude.
I didn't see it.
Dude, after I used to do this thing every year where they just bring somebody, the next year they had the DOP from Star Wars, Force Awakens. I hate that guy. But
why? What did he say?
He said, so you're supposed to do a talk, like everybody does. He just arrived and he's like, okay, so how I like to do this is just ask questions and I'll answer them. And I'm like, just tell us something first so we know what to ask questions about.
Yeah.
Nope. So it was really slow starting to ask questions, and then eventually somebody asked him how do you choose your projects? Because it's kind of weird. He goes from like Zoolander 2 or from Star Wars to like Zoolander 2 or whatever, and they asked him like, how do you choose your projects? And he said, money. No jokes. That was his answer. And then he just sort of tried to justify it by saying like, you got to decide what kind of way you want to live in life, and then how are you gonna afford that?
Okay.
And yeah, it
So
just
just
put
did
me
Star Wars because of money.
probably, I don't know. I mean, he went from Star Wars to Zoolander 2.
That's such a strange attitude.
Yeah. So yeah, I was very disappointed by him. I'm not going to mention his name, but you can Google it. But yeah, no, Sean Bobbitt in first year. I think that was. If I only got that one talk from first year, whole year would have been worth it. I think that's how good it was. Okay, cool. So let's move on to the next thing. I'd like to talk about technical things. Like, it sort of fits in with like style and what is the kind of thing that you like. I mean, obviously, technical things shouldn't matter. Like cameras shouldn't matter and all this business, and that's how our whole thing is. You know, go and shoot what you want with what you have, right? But that being said, you know, on Malamele we had a Red Dragon. We shot 6K on like Zeiss Master Primes, and that was nice. But that being said, I still don't have a 6K export of Malamele, which kind of sucks.
Because the project went.
Because the project went all cuckoo wonka.
It's a technical term.
Yeah. No, but let's talk like if we could choose. We have our like $20 million budget,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like, is that something that you would consider, or would you just leave that to your DP?
Mm-hmm. I think it depends on the project as well. So like with, you're also talking about like the style and how that feeds into the style. So with Alagrapi's op 'n stokkie, I wanted to do that like Jean-Marc Vallée style, where I think he was on the set of like Demolition or Wild or something, when he was looking around at all of the grip trucks and hundreds of people on set and walking around doing like one thing, and that's the only. And he was like, no, I don't need any of this stuff. Like, just give me. We'll just have a camera, we'll just have actors, and we'll just choose good shots, and we'll tell the story. Like,
yeah.
So that's what I wanted to do on that film, is like not have many people. I mean, it would have been like, I think it would have been a disaster if there was more people as well, because there were already so many problems that happened. It would have been like, it would have been chaos if there were like, you know, a lot more people there. So I think it definitely depends on the project. Like, if something like Alagrapi's was about those two characters, you didn't need anything else. You just needed like, I just wanted to have a camera, two actors, and let's go for it.
Yeah.
But obviously, if something requires like more equipment, like you can't make like Blade Runner 2049 doing that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
yeah, of course.
It's like,
you'd struggle.
I think it's like what the project.
But maybe those
requires,
Nigerian
like,
kids can do it. You know, you've seen them. Have you seen those movies? They're really cool. There's these. Don't you know about them? There's these like kids in Nigeria.
Do, like, amazing.
VFX and they only have like this really old laptop.
Yeah, it's good. You can do it.
Yeah, exactly.
You can do whatever.
Exactly. They are the inspiration as well. Or they should be to a lot of people. But for me, when I talk about technical things, I like to get. I mean, I'm a technical person. I like to know about what the cameras do and what. But I don't really operate on films. Like I would shoot little ads or whatever to make money, but I'm not really a camera operator, right? But I like shooting wide angle lenses, and then like getting like in there with the actor. I mean, some actors it's like, oh, it's invading my personal space, but like, it's that proximity. It's like now you're there with the character. When you're watching like Birdman. Birdman is the ultimate like example.
Well,
That scene.
Amelie as well.
I haven't watched Amelie.
I also did the same thing. Like,
but yeah, it's that scene for me. It's that scene in Birdman where Emma Stone is yelling at her father, Michael Keaton.
So good.
And it's like it's just in here, and it's like super wide. And like when I saw that, I was like, this is gonna be the thing that I shoot. So we got a 16mm lens for Malamila, and I was like, that's gonna be amazing. And then I didn't know that, all of these like big Hollywood cameras are super 35mm, and I thought that meant full frame. It doesn't. It's basically the same as APS-C, meaning full frame. There's this whole craze going on about full frame nowadays, and I have a full frame camera. That's what we're shooting on. But for filmmaking, that's not a thing usually. I mean, now they've the Red is the Monstro, which is a full frame sensor, and Arri has brought out the large format, the LF cameras. So it's becoming a thing. But I was just like, I want to shoot wide, and like this lens was wide, but it was like equivalent to like a 24 on your normal like full frame cameras. So I decided that's going to be my thing, right? But then with these shorts, we only have the lenses that we have, right? Because lenses are expensive. We're not going to rent, and so I just like decided if we can't get wide enough, we'll just shoot what the story needs, and we've literally been zooming in on all of my shots. I've had like these zoomed in shots. Maybe like Justine has like a couple of wide angles, but surface tension artists would intentionally stand further back and zoom more in. I mean, I think that's more his style. But it looks great for that film, public engagement, we decided to emulate that whole broadcast camera thing, and that has to be zoomed in. So we even cropped the sensor to an APS-C to make it like smaller, and then we zoomed further in. And so what I'm learning is that a lot of people have like technical styles, which is to say like the wide angle, whatever. But it all depends on the movie. It's not always just I want to shoot wide angle, and that's going to work for every movie ever. Even Wes Anderson has a couple of shots that are not perfectly symmetrical.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I wanted to speak about that and just like say that limiting yourself is also a great way to build a style. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because with this camera, Sony A7 III, lenses are really expensive. So I don't know if you know this, but like, Sony lenses are really expensive. Tamron is doing great work now with cheaper lenses, but I mean, it's still 13,000 Rand for a lens, which is a lot in Jaco dollars. So I've been experimenting a lot more than I would have if we had more budget, because I would have insisted everything is wide angle.
I mean, I think I also like to go into each one with like more like a set of like I like to have like an approach.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like with Alacrappies, I wanted to go with that sort of everything handheld. It's just about the performance. But then with something with robots, it had like it was more about that movement and like finding moments, like letting things run and like finding moments. And also having like a different approach of how we shoot like the one part of the film versus the other part of the film. But yeah, I suppose that's what you're saying as well. It's like about like setting those constraints that like dictate the style. You know what I mean? It's not so much like at film school. I was obsessed with like oh, you know, this shot is like this and that has that. This shot is like this and it has that. And then shooting them all and then putting them all together. Versus now, I think on these shorts, I like to go in with an approach that then dictates the style. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, definitely. I'm doing the same.
More considering things on like a macro level versus like a...
Yeah.
You know,
Engage.
what each...
Yeah.
Like just knowing that like if you're constructing the way that we're doing things, the shots are going to end up feeling like this and looking like this. You know what I mean? So it's almost like you just set those constraints yourself, and then that dictates like the style of them.
Cool. I think let's do one more question.
Well, who's your favorite director? Go.
Oh.
Or directors?
I mean, yeah. Thanks. Wes Anderson, David Fincher. Yours?
Richard Linklater, David Lynch, Yorgos Lanthimos.
Okay, hold on. This can't be too long because then we can just keep going.
Okay, those are the three.
For me, like it's been like it stems from watching Grand Budapest Hotel in that like time period.
Oh, Jean-Marc Vallée.
Can't keep adding.
Jean-Marc Vallée.
No. You only have 3. Now you have to bump one.
I can't do it.
You have to.
No, there's 4.
You have to. You can't. Who are you gonna bump?
Can't do it.
You have to.
I can't.
You have to.
You only had 2. I can have
Yeah.
4.
No, you can't have 4. I was like trying to think about 1. I was like, you can only have 1, and then you said more than 1. I was like, okay, I'll have 2.
Well, there's 4. Carrying with what you're
He's
saying.
a sellout.
I'm not a sellout. I can't
You
choose.
have to choose. You're the director. You make choices.
Shots fired.
What was I saying?
I don't know.
Oh, for me, this Wes Anderson thing stems from watching Grand Budapest Hotel in that time that I spoke about earlier. You know, it was literally the gateway movie. If that makes sense. I mean, it's not the movie that made me want to make movies, but it's the movie that made me
Formative.
Yeah, it's like what you said with Blade Runner. It's the movie that made me understand what cinema could be.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Everyone always talks about like, what's the movie that made you want to make movies? But there's a difference between like the movie that made you want to make movies, or like what made you want to make movies, and also like the movie that like shaped like or changed your whole view. Martin Scorsese as well. Okay. I'll just keep on adding.
Like for me, Fincher, you're gonna have to do this as well. Explain why they're on your list.
Okay.
Fincher is such a perfectionist, and I love it.
Yeah.
I mean,
But also a collaborator.
yeah,
See,
no,
they
of
go
course,
hand in hand.
of course, but he's like working smart about it instead of time consuming. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because he also comes from like a VFX background, and then he went into directing. Like they built a house in a a warehouse that was like just painted green screen all around, and then they shot the whole Gone Girl house thing inside there, and they just digitally added the outside. Who does that? Just go find a house.
So Breaking Bad, you know, those houses with sets.
Oh no, I mean the houses. No, I get sets, right? I get that,
Oh,
but
you
building
mean
a
green.
whole house,
A whole
not just a
house.
couple of rooms,
A whole
house, and then even doing exterior shots where it's just green screen with like a couple of
Wild. I
Yeah,
wouldn't do that.
it's crazy.
He wants some control.
yeah, but that's not what I like about it. I like how it's precise. You know, he does that thing where he merges shots. You know, like so a lot of his shots would be composed with like shapes
Yeah.
that he can then rotoscope and time frame shift and whatever to fit different, so you can have the best take from actor one and the best take from actor two, not just the best take overall. And like also like his style with all the wide angles that he does. I like his technology. I like how he uses Red. I like that he uses Premiere Pro. I don't know. It's just so
Smart.
much. Yeah.
Smart guy, yeah.
It's yeah. So that's what I like about Fincher.
Adapting
And his
to
movies are
change.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Adapt and change, and I like how he wants it to be crisp. He wants everything to be crisp. A lot of people just want like, no, keep it like film, right? Which fine, whatever, keep it like film for you. But film's dead. That's just like the actual film reel, shooting on film. That's dead. Why not explore what digital can do? Do you have to emulate what film did? That's my opinion.
Okay, I disagree.
You're allowed to.
I still like film. I still want to shoot on film someday.
No, I'm good. Just give me a Red. Give me an 8K monster. I'm good. Thanks.
My directors, Richard Linklater. The Before trilogy made me obsessed with couples, and just how he messes around with structure, but like consciously.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I watched Slacker the first time, it was just that thing of and Waking Life, like just changing the idea of what a film can be. Also watching all of his films, I was like, oh, what a film can be like this. Oh, you can shoot a bit of a film over like 12 years and show someone growing up. Like he really just like blows everything wide open. Like you don't have to do it this way. You don't have to structure something this way. If you want to say or tell this type of story, you can do that. Things don't have to like conform to the way they like have always been. You know.
Yeah.
Innovator, I think. Yeah. David Lynch.
Richard Linklater. I mean, this is probably the least amount of what do you call groundbreaking movie that is made, but like School of Rock is my favorite movie.
So good.
Ever. Like,
it's so good.
Yeah.
Because he also understands like if it doesn't need to be told that way. You know what I mean? He understands
Yeah.
which way a film needs to be told to convey that idea. You know what I mean? If School of Rock didn't need that, you just need to put a camera up and put Jack back in the front of it, then then do that. Like, and if the script is amazing,
they still had like a bunch of, technically, I mean, it doesn't look very like impressive or whatever.
Yeah, no, but it is.
But it's very like methodical and
right.
Yeah.
And the way he makes everything seem so natural.
Yeah.
But it's still like so like technically wild.
Yeah.
I also like the way he keeps everything grounded, like. The most extraordinary life-changing events can just happen like between two people. David Lynch taught me like dream logic, I guess, like the way things don't have to be conventionally logical, but a lot of it comes from just the feeling and experience of it. Like you don't have to be able to explain your experience. It's just like creating something that's like such that's an experience of watching it. You know what I mean?
I mean, I don't want to start an argument or whatever, but like, I used to think David Lynch was like really amazing, but I don't know, after Twin Peaks, I mean, it's good, but what does it mean? And why don't you want to tell me what it means? Does it mean anything?
I disagree. I think
I don't like that.
I think that's the important thing of letting an audience interpret and just have an experience. Like it's not like a preacher's platform, you know.
No, I mean, no, I get that.
X means
but
Y.
like, if you don't get anything from it, you're just confused. What then?
He uses confusion. Everyone's so afraid of confusion these days. Everyone's like, oh, if you're confused, they aren't going to like it, you aren't going to give it money, and then it's not going to be a bad thing. Like, I spend most of my life being confused and existentially terrified of everything. So
yeah, so are you not looking for the answers?
Comforting. No, it's so comforting watching something that doesn't have any answers, that presents more questions, that's more confusing.
That's cool. It's your thing. I don't like it.
It's great.
It's cool.
I love questions and just...
Questions without answers.
Yeah,
I don't like that.
I mean, I don't think I write like that, but I think he taught me the potential of having that type of experience. You know what I mean?
I mean, there's a difference between, for me, there's a difference between leaving something open ended and like, oh, you can still like decide what the ending is for yourself, and then just making a thing that is difficult to understand for the sake of making a thing.
He doesn't.
Which
think it's
is
difficult.
which is
He
which
wouldn't
is
think it's difficult
what
to
I get
understand.
from his thing. But that's just me. You can continue.
Yorgos Lanthimos. Man, I watched Dogtooth for the first time, and that was also like a formative experience. And just the way that he does like rule setting in his like world of story that are kind of absurd, and the way he really asks you to like suspend your disbelief is like super important. Just like the ability to create a different way that things work inside a film, like to create its own like internal logic, I think is also pretty genius. And that dictates, even if like the story itself isn't necessarily like kind of absurd, like if you look at The Favorite, for example, but he still creates that like otherworldly, like you go into this whole space.
That
And
like
it's
ultra wide in the kitchen.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
you're able to like, he also taught me to like the importance of like observing behavior. You know what I mean? You don't always have to be like with the characters the whole time, like, and be like one-on-one with what they're going through emotionally. Like sometimes it's very interesting to look at things like objectively, which he does very well. So that was my 3. What was the...
No, that
I'm not allowed
that
to
was
have
it.
any
No,
more.
that's your 3.
Oh, but I explained Jean-Marc Vallée anyway, so I got away with it.
Damn it. Cut it out. I'm gonna cut it out. You're like, what is he talking about? That wasn't in there. All right, cool. Yeah, so I think let's wrap it up there. Thank you, Mark, for this conversation.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody out there, for listening. I hope you got something out of it. I mean, we basically just spoke about things for like an hour.
Isn't that all
But
podcasts?
that's all podcasts. So yeah, if you're interested, there's going to be a once a month thing. Go and check out all the previous podcasts. It's over on the YouTube channel and also on all of your podcast sites, Spotify, whatever. So all of the shirts that we're wearing in the show are our shirts from our films and from the production company and like Loop Pictures and whatever. If you are interested in buying any of them, let us know. We can like maybe set up a store and sell them, send them. Merch. So yeah, let us know if that's something you'd be interested in, and we'll let you know. If there's enough interest, we'll set it up. Okay, so then until the next one, go and make your movie.
And buy merch.
Support the channel. Do the Patreon. Do you think we're gonna have a Patreon?
I don't know, but let's keep this in. Okay, bye.